Serving on the working group has been a real gift for me. It's been a lot of work. It's taken a lot of time, but it has been a real gift. On a couple levels. One is it's been a pleasure to work with other members of the committee, fellow Jesuits, faculty members, students and staff, alumni, some of whom I knew, some of whom I did not, but we worked so collaboratively and creatively together. We had some very difficult conversations, but they were honest and respectful. In the end, I'm proud of the report and recommendations that we gave to the president, but it was a result of a lot of time and a lot of effort. But this wasn't just work for us. I don't think for any of us on the committee. For me, it was part of my vocation. It touched on who I am as an alumnus, who is therefore part of the Georgetown story, which includes slaveholding. It's also part of who I am as a Jesuit priest. This is part of our history, our sinful history that we reckon with, that we have to name and own and seek reconciliation over. We've done it in other contexts over the last few decades, but never in a way has this been done here at Georgetown in such a concerted effort. All of us were deeply committed to understanding the history, committing ourselves to memorializing it in the right way, and working towards reconciliation. We all had the same commitment, and it was personal, and it was corporate or communal. We all were on the same page. When we got to the details, we had to work through some really tough issues, and working through the recommendations we gave the president, it was a matter of debate, but eventually we reached real consensus on our final report and recommendation. It's because we had a lot of trust and goodwill in each other formed over 7 or 8 months together, of spending a lot of time together. I think one of the most important parts of the working group's work was we committed ourselves in the first couple of months to understanding the history. So frankly, it became a bit of a seminar for many of us. We had a few historians on the committee. For most of us, we only knew the history on a surface level. We spent a lot of time working through the history. That was so important because there was a lot of misinformation out there about the history that we needed to correct. There was a lot of important parts of the history we needed to share more persuasively or eloquently. So by late fall, I think all of us were in a position on the committee not to know the history completely, but with enough depth to make good decisions going forward. Having the descendants involved was critical, and that's been something that the president has taken on personally. And I think Jack, hearing accounts of his meetings with descendants has been extremely moving. It's the right thing to do. And it flows naturally from the work we've done. I think it's proper that the president of the university, who really is entrusted with the mission of the university and tending to our history, that he be the one that meets with them. I think any of us on the committee look forward to engaging with the descendants personally and conversationally to hear their stories. Again, we now know more of their names. We now know more of the history. We know the geography better, both here in Maryland and down in Louisiana and other places. I think any of us would look forward to meeting with them ourselves because it reminds us we are talking about people here. History involves people, and this history is still living in the stories that they tell. The work of the working group was going on at the same time we as a country and our student community was dealing with the currents in our culture and in our country. After Ferguson and after Staten Island and after Cleveland and after Charleston, after so many other places, our students were engaged in very productive and helpful activism around issues of race and power and privilege, both on campuses and in cities and elsewhere. And so it was very important to see that although we were dealing with history, this history was touching the present moment. And all of us were making those connections, but our students were able to make those connections for us, and for me at least, in some very powerful ways and very, very emotional ways, because they drew connections between their hopes and their pains and their hurts from what's going on in the country today to what happened back in the 1830s. And so in a sense, history has come alive. The history of the working group has come alive as we've seen how it all connects to what's happening in our country today.